Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tanzil Mirza. Today's topic is related to app deployment strictly, and where to deploy your application is an opinion and experience based argument. Actually, it's a requirement based argument. And during this demo, I may mention Microsoft Azure at certain points. So just a small disclaimer here. This video is for knowledge sharing purpose only, and I intentionally do not endorse or denigrate Microsoft Azure team in any way whatsoever. Because previously I was using this Microsoft App Services, and it's a paid service because those guys are professional, right? So they charge for their services, but every single penny you pay to them is totally worth it. So I'm saying this after a personal experience. Their CI/CD pipelines, their release pipelines is impeccable. There's no match for them. But unfortunately, I had some financial crisis, so I started looking for a free deployment service, and I found my answer. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. So today you will need only two things. I'll quickly share those two things with you. So those two things are a GitHub account, and one more thing you need is the Heroku account. And when I'm saying the GitHub account, I'm assuming that you have basic understanding of Git. At least you should know how to push the code. So let's quickly start with the coding, but before that I'm assuming, in fact I know that we'll run into a build error. Okay, I've intentionally kept this part, and we'll fix this application error. In the runtime we'll fix it. So let's go back to the coding thing. Let's get our hands dirty. So first thing first, we'll create an Angular application with the very basic command. I'll open a terminal over here, and the command first, let me navigate into my documents, and here I'll create the application with the basic command ng new, and I'll call it let's say we have action heroes. Let it create first. Routing yes, and we'll keep the CSS only. So once the app is created, so after we create this app, we need GitHub account that I already have. I'll go back to the GitHub. Okay, now the app has been created. Let me first go back to the app, and that was action heroes. Okay, I'll open it in VS Code. Let's maximize it. So this is the entire code we have for our application, and just to be sure, we'll run this application. So the application has compiled successfully. We'll go to the browser and let's see if it's running or not. Localhost, and by default the port number is 4200 for Angular. Let's see, and yeah, the application is up and running. Okay, I'll close it. We don't need it right now. Go back to VS Code, and in fact I'll close the server as well. Delete the terminal. So this being done, now this entire code we have to push it to the GitHub, and so we need a repo there. At GitHub we need a repo. So let's quickly create one. I'll go to GitHub, press on new, and I'm creating it with the same name. Spelling mistake, action heroes. I'll just create the repository. It's been created, done. Now we can push our entire code here, and here they have given the steps to push an existing repository, an existing code. So I'll simply copy and run these commands blindly one by one. Okay, so the first command is this: copy, and go back to the terminal, git remote this, done. Next command is git, I'll just type it, m and then main, done. And last command is git push -u origin main. It will ask for the credentials. Done, and the code has been pushed. All right, let's minimize this. I'll refresh the page and see if the code is there or not. Yeah, we have got our code here. Now the next step is to set up Heroku environment. So let's quickly create a new application. I'll go to the Heroku. I've already logged in with my account, and I'll quickly click on new and create a new app, create a new application, and let's give it a name, or else Heroku will automatically assign some random name to your application. Okay, so I'll call it Action Heroes app. Okay, this name is, you can choose whatever name you want. This name is not related to the name you gave on GitHub or your application, so it's not related to that. You are free to choose whatever name you want. Okay, let the region be United States, and no add to pipeline. We don't want to add. Just click on create app. Once the app is created, click on deploy section, which is already there. Okay, here we will tweak some settings. From deployment method, we have to choose GitHub, because our application code is on GitHub only, so that's why we use GitHub. We choose GitHub. Now then we need to specify the repo name and then connect to that repo. So my repo name was action hyphen heroes. Let it search, and then yeah, here it is, and then we'll just press on connect. Okay, so before proceeding, please read out this section with me. It's a pretty important message here. So it says every push to the branch you specify will deploy a new version of this app. Deployment happens automatically. Be sure that this branch is always in deployable state, and any tests have passed before you push. So basically Heroku is trying to tell us that before we directly push code for the deployment, it is better to make sure that you have run all our test cases, and that's why this option is here. So if we are running Jenkins or something like that, Heroku will actually wait for the continuous integration to pass before our code is deployed. But today we are not doing that, so I'll not even touch this option, and I'll just press enable automatic deployment. Did you see that this message has changed? Heroku is saying that only master branch or main branch in this case will be deployed. It will be deployed whenever there is a new change. So remember that tomorrow if you are pushing code to some other branch other than master, make sure you raise a PR, a pull request, and your code is, or your branch is merged to master. Because according to this setting here, only master will be deployed. Only master will trigger the deployment. Once this is done, we can now deploy the branch. First time we'll manually deploy the branch, and from the next time onwards, every merge to master or main will trigger an automatic deployment. So as soon as we click this button, the build has started. As you can see the log as well. Let it run, let it complete first, then we can go ahead from there. This will take some time. Okay, the build was successful. You can read the complete log, but for now this message is enough for us that your app is successfully deployed. So just click on view. I'll just click on view to view my application, and as expected, the application didn't work. So we can go back. I'll just close this tab. We can go back to the top. We can scroll up to the top and just click on more, and when we can see the entire log from here, view log. Well, so this is the complete log, but I'm not going to debug into this error log, because I know for this case I know where the problem is. That's why I showed you here in the plan that we are going to fix this application error. I was expecting this. So this part is going to take some time, so pay attention here. So let's go back to our application code. This is the VS code. I'll just close this welcome note, and we have to configure our application according to the Heroku environment. So let's open this package.json. Now here the fun part begins. Look at our dev dependencies, this part, this section. So these dependencies are for developer and for the local development server only. That's why the application runs perfectly on your local machine on localhost port 4200. But the remote deployment server have no idea about the environment that we are using. So those things we have to tell the deployment server, and those things are Angular CLI, this thing Angular CLI, Angular compiler CLI, and the TypeScript version. So we'll copy these three properties from dev dependencies and paste it in the dependencies. So I'll just copy these two and the TypeScript as well, paste it anywhere. I'm just pasting it at the bottom. Just make sure you are pasting the same in this dependencies only. And the last thing is this TypeScript version. This is for the deployment server. Done. Save the code. A few more steps are remaining. Now next thing, we have to create a Heroku post build script in package.json, and it's pretty easy to add. We'll go to the script section. At the last, I'm adding this script, Heroku build, and the value will be ng build -- prod for the production mode. I'll save the code. So there is no rocket science here. We are using the plain old command to build the application in production mode. We are doing this because we'll give the build of our application to Heroku and not the entire code as it is. Save the code here. Okay, I've already saved it. And now we need to tell Heroku the version of node and npm that we used while creating our application. So let's quickly check the versions. I'll open a fresh terminal and I'll check my version, ng -- version. You do the same thing. Just follow the same command. And node is 10.19.0. Okay, note it down somewhere. Maybe I can note it down here itself. This is the TypeScript version. Okay, just remember this version. Okay, for me it's 10.19.0. Now we'll see the node version, and the next thing we need the npm version, and the npm version is 6.14.4. So at last we have to add one more JSON. I'm adding it at the bottom after dev dependencies. Just see, this thing is outside dev dependencies and dependencies. So the JSON is engines, and the first thing is node, and the other one is npm. For node, my version was 10.19.0 and this was 16.14.4, I guess. Let me just cross check. So node was 10.19.0 and my npm was 6.14.4. That's it. Let's save the code. So till now we were using local development server on our local machine itself, but in order to deploy the application in production we need a server, and in our case we'll use an express server. So first we need to install express. So the command is, I'll run it here itself. So the command is npm install express path -- save. It is installing. One entry of express should be added here. Okay, this is done. Okay, and the entry has been added in the dependencies express. Okay, this has been added here. And see, notice that I'm not installing it globally. I'm only installing it for this application only. Once this express is installed, you can see the property in our packet.json here inside the dependencies. Okay, and also just notice that it is not added as a dev dependency, because the reason is we don't need any express server to run our application on the local development server, because we are already running it using ngserve. Heroku needs it, so we add it in the dependencies section. So now we'll create a server file at the project level itself, and here we'll go. Here I'll create one server.js file. This is going to be the express server for our application. Created the code, and I have this code already written. I don't want to discuss it right now. Maybe sometime when time permits, we'll add it. My battery is about to die. Anyway, so I pasted it here, and don't worry, I'll paste this code somewhere in the description, or I'll upload it on GitHub. I'll just provide you the link, and make sure you replace this with your application. So in this case it is action heroes. Copy this part and I'll paste it here as well. Paste it. So here is the server code. We'll just save it. Now we have one last step remaining towards the deployment. We'll go back to the package.json. Okay, we'll go back to the package.json, and inside scripts, here we have a script section, and inside scripts we don't want the local server to start. Okay, we don't want the local server to start. So we want our server to take control of everything. So we'll just replace this start with, not with ngserve. We just want our server to take control. So we'll do this server.js. I'll save the code. And now let's just check in the code to GitHub. One last time I want to do git status. Okay, I'm outside right now. This is not the correct terminal. This was the terminal we were using actually. I'll move it here. Now we can do git status. This command is not required, but still git add. These are the basic git commands, no rocket science here. Added code for app deployment. Git push origin, not master, it's main. Provide the credentials. And the code has been pushed. One last time I just want to make sure my code is received at GitHub or not, pushed properly. Yeah, here. So this is the commit message, added code for the app deployment. So there we go. Let's go back to the Heroku and see what's happening there. The deployment should have, let me go back. The deployment should have been auto triggered by now, and all we have to do is to wait for some time. Okay, we'll wait for a few seconds. It's a small application, it should not take much time, but for larger application I have seen these pipelines, sometimes they take hours, 1 hour, half an hour, it takes like that. But it's a small application, it should take only a few seconds or a few minutes. If I try to deploy the branch manually, what will happen? Let's see. Yeah, this is what I was expecting. This is related to Dino and it's a free account, no? So it could not be created because one build is already running. And I'll go to the view logs. Okay, build has started. I want to go back to my application. I'll just click from here itself, open app. Okay, let it run. Still saying error. I guess the build has not completed yet. Let it finish building. I guess the build has been successfully completed by now. Let me go back to the log file. Let me see what it is saying. Starting process with command npm start action. Okay, this is fine. State change from starting to up. That's okay. Okay, and the last message is it says is build succeeded. Okay, I'll go back to the application and I'll just refresh the page. Let's see if it comes up or not. Yeah, so awesome, it's working now. Our app is working now. So just to be sure, one last change I want to do. This time I'll not go into the Heroku or anywhere, just let it be like that. I'll go back to the application and let's make few changes. Okay, just delete this also and I'll open source app component HTML. And what should I remove? I just want to remove few things from here. Let's say this portion I removed, and here I am just saying in h1 I'm saying, what was the code? Yeah, in h1 I'm just saying, hi, this is my first Heroku app. Save it, save the code, same GitHub process, git add, git commit. I'll just add the message here, added one heading, and then the last command is git push origin main, provide the credentials. Code pushed, that's okay. Now let's go back to the application. Let Heroku build trigger, let it trigger, let it do the deployment task and everything. I'm not bothered with that. I'll just stay here. We'll just stay here on our application and keep on refreshing. Maybe at some point it will pop up. It takes time, let it be. Keep on refreshing the build. I'm sure the build is running in the background on Heroku, but let's not go into that. Let it be like that only. Keep on refreshing it. So I guess the build was successful. I'll just refresh it one more time. Let's see, and yes, we are getting our changes. So this is what I wanted to show you. With continuous integration and continuous deployment using Heroku and GitHub, you push the code, you make your changes in local, push it to GitHub, and Heroku will take care of rest of the things, and it will deploy that automatically. You don't have to trigger in anything manually. Okay, so this is how you do the continuous deployment. Our changes are there. So this being said, our code is working, our logic is working. That's awesome. So this is how I brought down my monthly bills spent on app services to 0, because GitHub is free, Heroku is free, absolutely free. So that's how I minimize my monthly bills. And I repeat, there is no match for Microsoft Azure services. You will get a lot of more facilities with Microsoft Azure, not just this deployment and CI/CD pipelines. So I'm still using few of their services, but for a cheaper option, you can follow this video. Hope this was helpful. Please ask your doubts in the comment section below. I'll try to solve them as soon as possible. And thanks for watching this video. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.